Hi, it's Sue Greenwald here with Awakened Stories. I'm here today with Deanna Carr with the Mystical Moonlight. Hey, Deanna, how are you?
I'm good today. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. So glad to see you again. I thought we would do a follow-up question and answer video because we put out some videos lately, got a lot of good questions, which is always exciting to see. So our first topic is going to be the Great Wall of China. So we did that
Okay.
maybe a couple weeks ago. And I think you said the Great Wall of China was built roughly a million years ago, a million or more. All right. So, how long did that Great Wall take to build, roughly?
It's a lot faster than you think. It wasn't within months.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Remember, they had help. They're
Yeah.
not lugging it around like they tell us.
Yeah. So they were using extraterrestrial technology along with extraterrestrials. And so
Mhm.
what races helped to build the wall? Like, do we have words for them or descriptions?
There is a mixture
Okay.
of species. It wasn't specifically one.
Okay.
Um, some of them were reptilian.
Okay. The good
Uh,
reptilians or the bad? Were they bad or good?
I'm getting that they were good, and later on, bad ones snuck in to work with them to gather information. And this information helped them to kind of take over it for bad purposes. Because remember, I said that it was initially built in a positive manner, but it changed roles.
Right. Right. So yeah, there was a question about what races were responsible. And now we've heard a lot about the Tartarian Empire, and we haven't even really talked about that. Was the wall built during that time? Was that the civilization that was predominant on Earth then,
I'm getting before.
before?
It was before then.
All right. Were there cities and like right now, when we think of the Great Wall, it's kind of like in the middle of nowhere. I'm kind of joking, but it's out in the boonies and
Oh.
there's no cities or whatever there on is that how it was back then, or were there actually cities, towns, and more of a population near the wall?
There were more cities along the wall. They are under the dirt right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the walls actually, like I said, it's a lot taller, and then you have to think about what's underneath. But it's not like, you just sink a little bit below and that's like the base of it. It's a
Oh,
pretty deep filling wall. So the civilizations were there close to the wall, and
yeah.
then later on, you know, stuff took them out, and then they were overlaid by the dirt, trees, stuff grew on top of them, that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, we're finding these underground cities, these buried cities all
Mhm.
over the earth. And some of them we know are somewhat recent, but some are ancient. So it's interesting, isn't it? Like,
It
so what
is.
you're saying is that the wall is much bigger than we think it is.
Yes, it's a lot larger. It's kind of going back to um the stone heads. We think of them as just the heads, but there's actually a full-on body. Same thing with the wall. We're just seeing the top of it, and we don't see the
So we're
underneath
talking a
either.
lot larger, like double the size or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
within heights, yes.
Interesting. Okay. Now you had said there was a power source inside the wall or, in the middle layer, let's call it.
Yeah.
So, was that used to power these ancient cities that are now underground? Was that used to only power the transportation under the wall, or what was that used for? Or what, I guess a better way to say it, what is it used for?
All right, so what it was meant for, it was meant to power the train along with the cities because the power source was a lot different than what we have today. So
Right.
the power was able to source a lot more than, what we have going on today.
Okay.
What it's used for now, There's kind of a mixed signal with what it's used for. Some being for the underground issues. But I'm also getting that the power has been taken out. So they're transferring it to specific locations for sourcing powers.
So basically, they're taking the power that's there and saying, okay, I'm putting some over here, some over there, some over there, because we need to use that power or
Yeah.
that energy
So
source.
so it's to them it's a free source of energy versus, what we have where it's, we have to pay for it, so we have to dig for it,
Right.
all this stuff. It's already a workable source. It produces a lot more power than, what we have going on. So they decided, hey, let's source it to where we need it, and
Right.
then we don't have to worry about the energy issues.
Okay. Okay. So what I'm getting out of that is that the power sources are used by the dark forces.
Yes.
And they're the ones that know about it. And they're also using the transportation, the train system underneath as well.
Yes, although I don't see it staying like this for too much longer.
Okay. Yay. All right. So we're bringing it to the good guys' attention by doing
Yes.
this. Yeah. So when the wall was built, was the train underneath going to be used for good purposes, or was that built afterward, or how did that look?
It was meant for good purposes.
Okay.
It was supposed to be a way to connect, um, you know, certain species, they can't just, fly and transport right away. They have to have some sort of help. They weren't using the teleportation devices, so that was their backup solution, a high-speed train used with a free form of energy that's a high-powered source. That way, people can transfer wherever they need to be, along with it being in between the inner Earth and, let's say, outer crust. It was also supposed to be a way to connect us to inner Earth.
Oh, so it's that deep.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's like I said, it's a lot deeper than you think. And the train is further down than, like I said, we think.
underground tunnel. I just assumed it was like, below the surface, there's a train and then, the wall starts. Like, I guess that's what I envisioned when you were telling us. So,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Okay. So now we know that there's tunnel systems all over the earth and that they're basically used for nefarious purposes, trafficking and
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. Is that what the train and the power source have been used for primarily? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Once it was taken over, yes. It
Okay.
was, like I said, originally meant for good purposes. Um, Bad guys got word of it and they wanted it.
Yeah.
So they did what they could to take it over.
Okay. About how long ago did they take it over? We'll call it fully.
Fully,
Yeah.
it wasn't too long after it was made, maybe like a few thousand years,
Okay.
and then it was taken over.
So they've basically been using this for a million years.
Hmm.
And us guys don't even know about it, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to hide information.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, we got a lot of questions about it after we had done the video, and they're great questions. And,
Yeah.
of course, we want to know about what it was like back then, but it sounds like the humans were working with friendly ETs
Hmm.
for a joint purpose. It sounds like there were multiple races working together. And
Yeah.
so it sounds like that has happened more than once. And then, of course, now we've forgotten that we've had that contact way in the distant past, and we're afraid of the ETs, right?
Yeah, it is interesting because we do have this fearfulness of them. But if you even look into the history and documentation between, um, even species that have, gone and left, there's still documentation saying like we were actually friendly with aliens. There's art even
Yeah,
depicting aliens and humans working together.
yeah. Yeah. It's interesting how, they've shanghaied the whole narrative. So like every movie, every book, the aliens are coming to take us over. There's an agenda there. They want us to be afraid. They want us to be ignorant that they're out there. And when, we used to work side by side to create things. Very
Yeah,
interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. So anything else we need to know about the Great Wall, about the train system, the underground cities, inner Earth, working with other races, the power sources? Like, where have these other power sources gone, you know?
Um, I said for power sources, okay, so what I'm getting for that is they've actually taken them out of district. Most of them have been transported out because they were such a potent source. And there's a few that what I'm seeing is actually an internal city. Um, it looks like an infrastructure. I don't want to say underground, but it's not inner earth. So I'm
Okay,
not sure what it is
okay,
specifically. But I'm seeing like it looks like a mini city in the grounds, but not in the grounds. If that makes sense.
okay,
Um,
yeah,
I know.
yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Um, okay, so then what else? The train system. I do see that coming to an end soon. It's not going to be too much longer. Within the year, it'll probably be gone. Um, and they're saying something. There's something they want you to know, but I can't depict it yet. Okay, so I'm gonna move on and it'll probably come back.
Okay, okay.
Um, what else do you want to know about it?
Well, I guess inner Earth, wait, like we'll say a million years, did we know, humans know about inner Earth, that it was there?
At one point we did. Um, that's why, I mean, there's still a lot of people that are really interested with inner Earth because they know it's there. They want to find access to it. Um, at one point we did, work with inner Earth. Some of us came from inner Earth. And then some species went into inner Earth. So we had this, thought of how do we get there? So the train was meant for multiple purposes, like I said, for the good. But one of it was for us to have easy access to inner Earth. So one of the destinations was for us to be able to access inner Earth with a easy destination. Whereas now most of us, unless you read books and they tell us it's, fictional and all that, um, there's no way to actually know how to get into inner Earth. Or you find, your access point and it's a little creepy for you to go through and you're,
Yeah,
second guessing your choices.
yeah,
Um, so this was supposed to be for us to have access where we could come and go freely and have, access to what is underneath.
interesting, interesting. I wonder what will happen with that in the future, if we'll resume using it for that purpose, or if it's gonna be like obsolete, you know?
I see it being resumed for its initial purpose,
Yeah.
but we have to get to the right point. So at first, it's going to be um, not used for a little bit because they have to, I'm gonna say cleanse it, and then it will be ready for use.
Cool, cool. All right. Is there anything else that we should know that I haven't asked? Of course, there's a billion questions, but it's so interesting, that we, the human species, for the most part, has forgotten all of this. I mean, a million years is a long time, but nothing's been passed down to us.
It is interesting, but like I said, it's easy for them to wipe the information. So, um, having access to it,
Right?
I mean, you hear certain things, you read certain things, and that kind of depicts your idea of what happened, and that's how most people are. And then you get to the point where it's like, that doesn't seem accurate.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like we're just making stuff up at times, but
Oh, they
obviously,
definitely are. It's actually kind of funny.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, let's move on to the next topic. We had a
All right.
question about the Titanic. We had done that video a couple weeks ago, and basically, I mean, you jumped right in and gave away the plot. The Titanic was
Sorry.
it was done
Plot
on
twist.
purpose. Okay, we kind of knew that. I mean, I did know that, but it was interesting to hear your take on it. And
Yeah.
you had basically said that the elites, they were after really three main people. But
Hmm.
what the elites would do is they boarded the ship and pretended that they were going to sail, so it looked normal, that there was no suspicion, that they got the right people they wanted to kill on the ship, and then they
Exactly.
kind of snuck off, which
Hmm.
is something I didn't know. So very interesting. So the question we received was about the ship Carpathia, I guess you'd say.
Hmm.
Um, so we're told that it was there to rescue survivors, okay? But the question was, were they really there to ensure that these specific elites did not survive? Like, were
Yes.
they? Wow. So they
Yeah.
were there
So
early. Okay.
yeah. So they went to make sure they did not survive, and if they did survive, they'd off them and make sure they didn't.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, and then they ensured that there was no options for these guys to live, the ones that they wanted to die.
Hmm.
And then what about we'll call them the common folk? They weren't even concerned at all about the death toll there, right?
No, no. I do see a few being saved, but for the most part, if there was a certain point, they were just like, you're good, stay here.
Yeah, once they're gone, right? And they can't
Yeah,
tell the story. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So they were part of the plan as well.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay. Very complex. All right. So there was a bomb inside the ship, and it was
Yes.
planted before they took off. They had some sort of a remote detonation, or it was timed or whatever,
Hmm.
and they had the story already. All right.
Yeah, so what I'm getting is it was I feel like it was a double bomb. So like one part of it was timed and the other part was remote. So in case something happened, they had a backup plan.
Okay. Okay. And did both go off?
Yes.
So the remote
So
one, was that somebody on board, or was that remote, like as in one of the shores?
um there was somebody on board
Did
that
they
had the remote.
did they
And
die?
yes, they did.
Hmm.
They went in knowing. But they were okay with it because they figured that it was part of the plan. It was illogical.
Brainwashed. Okay.
Yes,
In-
so they wanted the I don't know if it was forced, but they thought it was part of the plan, so they went with it.
wow. Yeah. So we're talking, big dollars here. Like there's a giant reason they created the
Mhm.
Federal Reserve, obviously. All right.
Yeah.
So this was a big deal. And they did some other paperwork thing and changed the banking system and blah, 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 blah. But this was a very big, important deal. And they took great pains to make sure that it was carried out.
Yes, they did.
Wow. Okay. So well, anything else we should know about the Carpathia? I don't know how to say it. About that ship and its purpose or what it did.
No, it's just one of their like the hidden vessels, meaning that um they would, say that they're the good guys or their help, but they were actually there for ulterior
Yeah,
motives. They killed off, who they needed to if necessary.
yeah.
Um, there's what is it? Some of the people are still, around today that, off the people.
Okay, when you say they're still around, are they extraterrestrial slash they have a longer lifespan than us
Yes.
regular? All right. So probably reptilian then.
Hmm.
They're still in,
There's a mixture. There's some humans, but mostly we're, different species.
Ah, so they're still out there causing trouble.
Yes, most of them.
Okay. All right. Well, are they going to be snapped up anytime soon?
Yes, I see most of them are going to be. There's a few that they have um a few lessons to learn before that happens, but yes, so they will be.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, so we had like 2,100 people die in this that we're told. I mean, again,
Hmm.
what really happened, but the whole thing is, and of course there was money through the ship insurance and this and
Hmm.
that, but it's one of those things like we talked about before where it ripples forward through time,
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
negative way. Okay. Anything else we should know about that story?
No, I think that's it. I mean, if people have questions, always ask. But I
Yeah.
think that's it coming to mind.
The questions are good ones because a lot of times when I do these, I'm only envisioning what you say and I can't think of a broader, the questions until
Hmm.
after we're done. So it's all good.
Important.
Okay.